What's up friends, welcome back to the channel. So back in 2016, 3 years before we started this channel, I really only played games on my PS4 or my little MacBook Air. This was a year before the Switch and also several years before I converted to PC gaming. As you can imagine, there weren't a lot of options for gaming on Mac, but one of the rare titles I did find was Kingdom New Lands. I loved this game. I loved the retro art style and the simple yet engaging gameplay, and overall I just thought it was a brilliant little game. Fast forward to 2018 and New Lands received a bona fide sequel in the form of Kingdom Two Crowns, which launched on all platforms. Since then, the game has received a ton of quality of life updates, as well as several DLCs with the recent Call of Olympus expansion that launched just 2 days ago. I've played a handful of hours of Two Crowns in the past, but never actually in co-op, one of the sequel's best new features. Thankfully, the publisher behind the game, the good folks at Raw Fury, offered to sponsor this video so that we could give co-op a try, play the new DLC, and give you our impressions. If any of this piques your interest, Kingdom Two Crowns is having a free weekend on Steam between the 10th and 14th of October, and the game is currently on sale too, link in the description for that. But as always, our opinions are our own. Sponsorship or not, we're committed to showcasing only the most quality co-op games on this channel, so with all that out of the way, let's get into Kingdom Two Crowns. We need to buy as many archers as you can.
What the? What
Yo,
are you?
I got a new,
what are you writing?
I got a new mount. I can get you a new mount too.
That's wild.
Dude, this mount is really interesting too. It like charms some of the other like elks.
Dang, that's cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. I'll show you how I got it too. Before I dive straight into our impressions of the game, let me first give you some context as to what kind of game Kingdom Two Crowns is and how it plays. Two Crowns is a deceptively simple game, a point I'll come back to time and time again in this video. But at its basic form, it's a tower defense title supporting 2-player co-op with both local and online modes. You play as the monarchs of a new land, and it's your job to build up your kingdom and defend it from the greed that attacks at night. The game is presented as a side-scroller, and you also play the whole game using only like 3 inputs. See, as the monarch, you don't actually do any of the fighting or building. That's what your subjects are for. You'll start with a small pool of money that you can use to recruit new villagers. Following that, you can assign them a job like archer, builder, or farmer. Some units you can boss around, like having builders upgrade your defenses. Others simply do their own thing, like farmers that slowly toil away but do make you the most money. As you become more wealthy, you'll need to continue to build up your defenses. Since the game operates on a calendar system, the longer you survive, the more powerful the greed becomes. That's the basic gameplay loop, but again, this is a deceptively simple game, and the more you play, the more you start to discover. The game doesn't have much of a HUD and only a brief starting tutorial, so it's up to you to learn how things work through trial and error. Without getting too ahead of myself, that's really where the game starts to shine. There are some really cool mechanics to discover, and you start to realize that the game isn't just about surviving, there's an actual end game with some larger goals that I won't spoil here. The other thing I want to mention is the different settings. Upon booting up the game, you can select different settings, or really they're like different campaigns. Shogun and Deadlands are free updates that mostly just reskin the game into a feudal Japan setting in the case of Shogun. The Norselands and Call of Olympus are paid expansions that go beyond just aesthetics, however, and add new mechanics and goals to their respective campaigns. We'll get into Call of Olympus in a bit, so let's finally dive into our impressions of the game. One of the biggest takeaways after our time with Two Crowns is how well it works in co-op. I remember playing by myself, I'd frantically race back and forth trying to make sure both ends of my kingdom were thriving. Co-op play makes it a lot easier to split up all the responsibilities. As in, we literally split the kingdom in half, and I dubbed myself the King of the West, and Andrew naturally became the King of the East. Again, while Kingdom is a simple game, the longer you survive, the more there is to do. There's definitely a level of strategy to managing the units, when and how far to expand, and especially using your time effectively. To that end, it's really helpful to have an extra monarch to help keep things in order. Each monarch does have their own pool of money, and even if you're not the host, both players have equal agency over the game. One of the only downsides we saw though is that you can't both contribute towards building something, and there's no easy way to share money other than just dropping it on the ground. It's not a big deal, but hopefully something that could be added in the future. While we mostly took care of our respective sides, we often came together to push a big expansion or rally the troops towards an assault on the greed. The game does get a bit harder when you hit winter since your farms can't produce crops, and let's just say honestly, that's when I was most grateful for the King of the East and his generous coin reserve. Still, Two Crowns never becomes too hard or too easy. It finds a really great balance and ultimately feels like a pretty chill co-op game. Once you learn the mechanics, it's a perfect game to just chat and play to, and I could see it being a fitting co-op game for more casual players. It's a rewarding game in a lot of ways, but possibly the most rewarding thing is to see your kingdom go from a campfire and 2 planks to several yards of farms, walls, and a whole army of units. And even in the late game, we were still figuring things out, which brings me to the real magic of Kingdom Two Crowns. How much is up to you to discover.
Do we need to like pick up the lady? Or now do we need to go to like the 3rd island and find miners? That'd be insane.
These are questions I don't have answers for.
Wait, how did you build that nicer one?
I don't know. We just did. I didn't even do anything to make it happen.
Oh,
Maybe now we don't even have to
no.
worry. Everything is now stone because we have that within our walls.
No way,
That's
dude. That was crazy. That's such a
insane.
cool moment. I was literally like, wait, how did you build that? What are you talking
I
like?
know.
There were plenty of mechanics we solved together simply by bouncing ideas back and forth and good old trial and error. Genuinely, some of my favorite moments were when something clicked and we both had that big light bulb moment simultaneously. Base Kingdom has plenty of mysteries to solve, but Call of Olympus seems built all around them. This new DLC introduces a new quest structure that's driven by clues left for you to decipher. We only had a couple hours into DLC, but I already clocked some noticeable differences from the base game. I imagine veterans of the franchise are gonna eat this up. And yeah, you know, it was also pretty sick to lead our troops to battle as if we were Greek generals. Okay, so I can't possibly end this video without making a mention of how great the visuals and music are in this game. This isn't new to me, but it was the first thing Andrew mentioned as we took our first stroll around the kingdom. They seriously do a great job with the pixel art, animations, and especially those color palettes. The music is another huge highlight with a mix of calmer tracks and some pretty upbeat ones that they played just at the right time. Lastly, I was happy to see co-op was fairly easy to set up with a simple menu, and I like that you get to pick different looks for your Monarch too. Do keep in mind that only the host retains progress via online co-op, which of course isn't a problem if you play local co-op. This option works pretty well, with the game being split horizontally, giving each player plenty of screen real estate. Overall, we've come away pretty satisfied with our time playing Kingdom Two Crowns so far. I'm a little sad we never thought to try this game in co-op earlier, but I'm happy to see the game is still thriving years after release. That's all for today, guys. Thanks for watching, and thank you to Raw Fury for sponsoring this video. If you're a fan of the channel, you might notice we don't tend to do a lot of sponsorships. We don't like to advertise something we don't believe in, but since I knew Kingdom Two Crowns was a solid game, and now knowing it's great in co-op too, it seemed like a good fit, so thank you for indulging us. But if you're new to the channel, we cover all things co-op games, so make sure you subscribe and follow us on our socials for more co-op content. Lastly, a big thank you to our Patreon producers who help keep the channel running. We'll catch you next time on another episode of the Co-op Bros.
Sorry, I need to poach your farm a little bit. I need some money.
Bro.
I need money on the
Over here
left.
fortifying our right side.
We're trying to get to the monument. It's for everybody. All right, I'll go.
You didn't see what I saw last night, bro.
You're right. That's hilarious.
The king of the right wall saw shit last night, bro.
It's true.
He's never gonna be the same.
It's true. I overheard my Westerners being like, the Easterners have it rough. You don't know. They're like, the Easterners
You don't know
are
the
shell
mask
shock.
that they saw.
The Easterners are shell shock. Rumors are that. Did you build up your farm more with the lady, or?